Hey everybody, this is Count VHS, and I don't want to bury the lead here, but I basically want to make this video just to let you know, those of you who are following the channel and enjoy Middle-earth lore discussions, maybe enjoy some of my off-the-cuff comments on literature, that I am developing and have developed a Substack that will be dedicated to those things. You might be interested to check it out. This is not going to replace the YouTube stuff, but over the past couple of years, you may notice that the lore videos, I did a couple of big ones, very lengthy, very involved videos on the history of the Wayne Riders, the history of Harondor, and I loved writing those and creating those videos, but it was a tremendous amount of work. And I've determined that, since then, I didn't stop writing lore-related things, and I wanted a way to get it out there more easily. And so Substack is something that I decided to jump on because it's a place where I could kind of link all of those things with some of my other projects and put it out there and kind of inspire me to keep writing on a regular basis and polishing things for public consumption, which is something I haven't done as much as I should have. So what is this? I'm calling this Ent Work, which is a bit of a play on words because this is a reference both to, of course, the Ents of Tolkien's Middle-earth, as well as the Ent Work of Old English poetry. This is a reference. It means like literally the work of giants. Ent is a word for a type of giant in Old English, and the Ent Work in question is often old ruined stonework. You can see examples of that in poems like The Ruin, The Wanderer. Several examples appear in Beowulf, and a couple of examples appear in the also interesting and likely Beowulf-influenced poem Andreas, which is a saint's epic about the travails of the Apostle Andrew in Myrmidonia, the city of the cannibals. It's a fascinating story, and there's a couple of examples of Ent Work in there. So over the past decade or so, I've been doing a lot of my research is really focused on Ent Work in the Old English sense, but I've also, for fun, been doing a lot of writing in the Middle-earth sphere on lore-related things. And I thought, well, okay, I kind of like both of these things. Substack seems like a place where I could kind of smoosh those interests together and put out things regularly without sort of going through all of the video production elements that would require me to, to take a lot longer getting those types of things out on YouTube. And also it'll be like a little more of a sequestered area, right? Like YouTube is very fun for just jumping on and doing Let's Plays and occasionally doing a sort of an unscripted ramble. But with stuff that I've written and I want it to kind of be there, so you can look at it and see the words that I've written, right? Because that's important to me. I'm like a visual guy. So podcasts are great, but I like to see words when I'm absorbing stuff. It just helps me. So I thought that Substack would be good because there's a couple of things about this. One, of course, it's like an archived place where you can have all your posts and essays and things. But the other thing is that you can also do recordings of yourself reading the scripts. So I know that there are some of you who maybe prefer listening to that stuff while you do other things. And so you'll find that stuff here. What I plan to do, I haven't done it with this first post, but what I plan to do is record the writings that I post here, especially the ones that are of more interest. This introductory post is sort of like setting the parameters for what this is all about. But after that, I'm going to be getting into some more detail in various areas. But the option to record myself reading a post, I think will appeal to some people who maybe don't want to just like stare at their screen, but maybe, click the button on the app and just let it go, I guess. So there will be that option as well I wanted you to know about. Now, what is Substack essentially? Well, it's relatively new to me. The past few years I've become aware of it. And I like it because you can subscribe to a lot of things that are free and they show up in your email. What's email? I don't know. Just look up MySpace and see what it is, right? Like it's an old antiquated technology that some people like myself still use. So if you have email, like some of you kids may not, but if you have an email, then you will get, if you subscribe, you will get this sent to you when things are posted. I'm planning things to come out on like a once a week basis. And the thing you should know is I've got a tremendous backlog of things already. I've worked a few posts ahead pretty much, and I've got just a lot. The horizon is full of topics for me to include and just sort of toss down on this Substack. So I think some of it will be of interest. What happens if you click the subscribe button? Well, you will see that there are a couple of options here. Now, for those of you in my YouTube audience, I'm assuming you're going to want this option. Now, this is a little weird. I've set it up this way for now, but I'm not sure how set in stone this is going to be. So, in other words, it says that you get occasional public posts. Well, currently, and what I'm imagining for the foreseeable future is not really to paywall anything. At first I had thoughts about, well, okay, just get your writing out there, right? And maybe paywall the comments section or paywall a few posts or something. But there's problems with the value proposition to both of those things. For one, I like the engagement that I get on YouTube to the extent that I do. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of a reply that I've given to one of your comments, you can probably tell that I get right into it, right? So I want to have people, doing the chat and comment things, on stuff that I post. I don't want to paywall that. Similarly, if I paywall like a couple of articles a month, that doesn't seem like great value for your money, right? And conversely, if I paywall everything, then no one's going to read it. So there's this weird sort of area with regard to having your hat out and kind of giving the option for money. The way I'm approaching it initially is to think of me as a busker on a subway. Right now, I've barely been on subways, but I watch TV and I think I know this is how this works. Right? There's a guy playing guitar on a subway station, and he's got the guitar case open and there's money in it, right? Now, when you walk by, he doesn't look up at you, make aggressive eye contact, and wait for you to toss money into the guitar case, right? He doesn't stop playing until you pay, right? So the option is there, but it's not really a requirement to enjoy the product, I guess you could say. So think of it like this. The option is here. These two buttons, I think of these as the wealthy dowager buttons. You have to ask yourself, before you want to click either of these, am I an elderly widow who has inherited an estate and is looking for a nice middle-aged man to throw money at? If that describes you, then by all means, click this one, right? Click the most expensive option. And a note about the cost for this. This is as low as I could get, $5 a month. Substack will not allow you to ask for $3 or $4 a month. It's got to be $5 or higher. But what you can do is set the annual rate to pretty much anything. So I thought, okay, $3 a month, $36 a year. That seems much more reasonable. So I figured if anyone is interested in supporting this, wonderful if you have the means. But realistically, I'm not paywalling anything, right? Like if you go on there for the next month or so, everything's going to be available. So maybe that'll change, right? If this really blows up, which it won't, then I may sort of rethink this. But the goal is to get me to writing regularly and publicly, and sort of have a place to collect all the writings on these various topics. This was kind of fun. I saw this. This is part of the reason, though. There's a bit of a, now that we've discussed the main stuff, I can talk about this. So a couple of years ago, AI comes out, and then you start seeing all the AI-generated stuff on YouTube. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, what am I wasting my time on YouTube for, right? Like why, or social media in general, like why bother doing anything? Because AI slop tidal waves are coming, and there's just no point. Well, there is a point, right? So I'm a little less black-pilled about it now, because I think people value authentic humans to an extent. And so there is going to be a market for this type of thing, this AI-generated stuff. You will continue to see it, I'm sure. I guess it's going to get better, but also humans are going to keep doing their thing. And the evidence of that is the fact that for the past several years, I've continued to write a stupid amount of words on obscure things that will almost certainly make me $0 over the course of my life, right? Like, who are the hillmen of Rudour? What can we know about their history? Let me write 20,000 words on that topic, right? So people are going to keep doing people things. AI is also going to be doing AI things. And like, I guess a week or two ago, I discovered this section of my my YouTube channel. You know, I was checking out my videos. Here's what my videos are. And then I saw that there's this inspiration button. What the heck is this? So you click this inspiration button, and it's got AI slop right here for you. So if I wanted to make it even easier to produce the quality content that you've come to know and expect from your favorite AI slop creators, I could do so now with a click of a button. So what do we have here? We've got one suggestion, the Tharbad Swan Care Guide. The unique challenges of caring for swans in the bustling port of Tharbad are explored. Practical tips and observations on feeding, nesting, and ensuring their safety are shared. Now, it does say there is very low interest for this. I'd beg to differ. I think there is some interest. If someone were to tell me, you know, the bustling port of Tharbad and swan care, I mean, that's all right. Maybe medium interest for that. I'm much more interested in this, Orcs versus Dryads, Middle-earth battle. I mean, maybe this would be an amazing... I should maybe just do these, right? I'm not going to do this, but I thought this is what the machines want, right? Orcs versus Dryads. So you can sort of see how the system is working here. They're going back over videos that I've created in the past, and they're plucking out some keywords, and they're smooshing them together and saying, what about that? And this one is actually right on brand. I mean, if this were not so blatantly lore ridiculous, this is actually a great idea, right? The clash between orcs and dryads is explored in a captivating analysis. I mean, the writing is terrible, right? The video delves into the strategic strengths and weaknesses of each faction in a hypothetical battle. I would love, tell me more. I would love to know more about this hypothetical battle between orcs and dryads in Middle-earth. And then finally this, Tharbad, a Merchant King's Legacy, also claiming very high interest, which I beg to differ, but maybe I'm wrong here. Tharbad, a once thriving port city in Middle-earth, is now a shadow of its former self. This video explores its history, from the rise of its merchant kings to its eventual decline, and ... We could click if we wanted to read another sentence or so about that. This seems like by far the most grounded of these options, but of course Merchant King is only something from the 4th Age Total War, right? I don't think that exists anywhere else. Maybe we got the idea from somewhere else, but it's definitely not in Tolkien. So again, like all AI stuff, it's going to stitch together things, some of which is really inappropriate, but it doesn't know that. And so it's just going to suggest these things. In fact, the other day, or maybe it was earlier today, I was clicking the inspiration button, and it suggested the Merchant King of Forodwaith. The Merchant King of Forodwaith. So, like the Lossoth snowmen have a Merchant King, according to the AI. So that would be fascinating. But I guess my point is, this stuff is out there, right? And there was a moment a couple of years ago when I was rather discouraged about where all of this was headed. And I thought, well, I'm just not going to bother writing scripts anymore. What's the point, right? Like, it's just going to get consumed and stolen by YouTube and hacked up and used to sort of generate more AI slop. And that's true, right? And that's going to happen whether I do this on Substack or whether I'm just writing it on Word, even, because I'm sure Word is gobbled up by Microsoft and anything you do there is stolen by them. But it's going to happen regardless, right? So in the meantime, don't stop being a human, I guess, is my theory. And so I thought, okay, well, I will do the Substack thing. I will go ahead and see how this goes. So at any rate, there's a link for the Substack in the description to this video. I'd appreciate it if you check it out. Certainly feel free to subscribe for free, unless you're tremendously loaded, in which case I humbly welcome your support. But at any rate, I hope this video finds you well. Until the next one, take care.